Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at Charlie. Charlie is a much requested character, and thank you by the way. I do listen and I read your comments. So let's get into the guide and a bit of a showcase for her with some teams. Charlie is primarily a DPS character. From P3 onwards, she is incredible. From P0, she is still usable. Let's look at her kit. So her first incantation, it's a single target attack, Tempest to Thee. It can deal up to 180% mental damage at level 1, and if her HP is below 80%, it will deal an additional amount of mental damage. This is where you're going to start to see that for Charlie, you want her to be between 50 to 80% of her own HP. We'll get into that later. Thunder to Thee is her next incantation. It's a single target attack, deals the same amount of, similar amount of mental damage to one target, and will deal additional damage if Charlie is in a stats up or positive status, which she will self buff with her I3. Next, her ultimate, I Stand Alone on the Stage. It's a mass attack and it will dispel stats up, pos stat and counter statuses from all of the enemies, and from P5 will deal 500% mental damage. That's an incredible multiplier for a mass attack. Insight 1. When her health is below 50%, she will take 20% less damage, and her crit defense will increase by 20% for 1 round. Insight 2, attack plus 5%, and Insight 3, when the caster, when Charlie starts the round with HP above 50%, damage dealt will be increased by 20% for 1 round. This will be counted independently, so each round you can apply this to herself. That's why we want her to stay between 50 and 80%. P3, why is it so important? Because P3 makes the additional damage for when her HP is below 80%. It basically makes this window a little bit more comfortable for you to get more damage with her. Again, she is usable from P0, but if you can get her all the way up to P5, she's amazing. Apparently, people say that she is comparable to Lilia at P3, and from P5 she overtakes Lilia at P0, a P0 Lilia rather. Let's have a look at Charlie's side tubes. There's a few different ways that you can play Charlie. I prefer to use her with Hopscotch. Hopscotch is the side tube that will buff her incantations, and then each time she defeats an enemy, her ultimate will stack. It's the best for her. Currently, as of at least 1.4. You could also use Brave New World. Brave New World is not as good because she's not going to be using her ultimate as often as her incantations, and the buff to the incantations only for the next one afterwards. If you have this one leveled up higher though, you could also use this one. Alternatively, if you're going for Crit Charlie, you could use Thunderous Applause, which has her face on it. This is just to help you get extra crits, but this is not recommended unless you can actually get her to like Resonant 8, 9, 10, where she can maybe try to get more crit stats. Unfortunately, mine is Resonant 6, so I don't have a lot of crit built to my Charlie, but later in the video I'm going to be playing around with it. If you want to run a supportive Charlie, which I'm not sure why you would want to, but you might want to, good for you, do you. You could also use her Second Life, which increases her attack, and then she'll heal a little bit with her mass attack, but again, that is only as a last resort. Okay, so let's look at Charlie's teams. Primarily because Charlie self-buffs herself a lot, you want a debuffer with Charlie. Someone like Baby Blue, yeah, someone like Poltergeist, someone that can reduce mental defense, crit defense, or enemies' defenses. So I don't have my Baby Blue invested into, but you could use her. And then you could use a healer like La Source or like Apple. If you're running a crit team rather than buffer, you could run Eric or characters that reduce the crit defense of the enemy as well. That's a basic Charlie team setup. Now, the teams that I'm going to be showcasing, my first one is with Poltergeist and John Titor. Poltergeist helps to lower the mental defense of enemies, and Charlie, by the time she gets between 50 to 80% damage, usually John Titor has her ultimate shield ready, and because John Titor's shield is incredibly strong, it's enough to sustain the team. So that's kind of how I run this team. It's not the strongest, but it is honestly quite fun to play, and I do really like utilizing 3 and 4 star characters. Charlie does more than enough damage by herself, and yeah, the only downside to this team is it's not the strongest, but this type of format can work if you do have these characters or if you like them. Because like I always say, play the characters that you like, build the characters that you like, because at the end of the day, Limbo is not that important. Just completing the game and having fun is. Let's skip to the end. So, as you can see, Charlie is the hard carry in this team, and that John Titor actually, like, her shield does a great, she's great, yeah. Next team that we're going to be looking at is a kind of a substitute for Baby Blue, which is Twin Sleep. Twin Sleep is here to reduce the crit defense, reduce the enemy's mental defense, and I've used Medicine Pocket here because they are also very good at debuffing the enemy, and also they're a pretty solid healer. One more thing with Charlie is because of her requirement to stay between the 50 to 80% HP region, you don't want to have someone that's going to do huge mass healing, or someone that overheals. Someone like, I mean, Bunny heals like 4,000 HP when she uses her ultimate. That's probably going to be too much. Someone that does smaller bursts, smaller windows of healing, like level 1 or level 2 incantations of their healing, something like that is much better rather than someone that heals their ultimate in a large amount. So with this team, Medicine Pocket did a little bit of damage, but Charlie again, she's hard carrying it, and Twin Sleep was basically just there to debuff. Similarly, if you have Baby Blue invested, slip Baby Blue into this team. It's going to be great. Next team, this is a crit team. This is Charlie with crit. So this is an all-star crit team, all-star crit team with Voyager to add confusion, some counter, and some damage. My only apprehension about using Tooth Fairy is that she's great in high levels of Limbo and difficult stages, but Tooth Fairy will probably overheal, and it might be a little bit difficult to use her with Charlie in easier content because Charlie's not going to be getting that buff. So just be warned, yeah, just keep an eye out for that. I tend to find that through all my testing, I was stockpiling the Tooth Fairy healing cards because her passive healing each turn was more than enough to keep the team alive. So yeah, as you can see, this team's quite strong. Tooth Fairy does a decent amount of damage as well. Voyager can as well, you know, if you build it, if you invest to your Voyager as well. This team's fun, it's strong, and it clears really fast. Just be careful of overhealing. Now here's a little bit of curiosity killed the cat, I guess. I decided to build Thunderous Applause and test out a crit Charlie because I felt like I couldn't complete this video without doing it. So you're welcome, I even amplified it. And now I'm going to try the exact same team out, but with this side tube. And admittedly, again, Resonant 6, her crit stats are not going to be inherently high, but again, this team is strong, and that side tube is viable. Yeah, it's, if you have it invested into, it's quite universal for any characters that do want to build crit or want to, you know, run a crit build. But yeah, is it worth it? Maybe, but I just really wanted to test out everything. I feel like I have a few extra resources, and people have been asking about a Charlie guide or Charlie playthrough, and you guys have been really kind in the comments, so I figured I might as well put this into the video, and but I'm happy to say that it works. My review, or I guess my opinion on Charlie is, if you have her at P0, you can use her. A lot of people say, you must get P3, you must get P3. And yeah, you can get P3. But if you don't want to pull on the banner, don't just blindly pull for a 6-star just because not Blonnie, because Charlie's on there. You want to save your resources. if you get her, you get her. There's no pity for a 5-star character, and there's no guarantee for a 5-star character in this game. So I will never say pull for her just because she's on a banner. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know who we should work on next. I'm going to work on a couple of showcase guides, and yeah, see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.